All right, folks, the market is back and the Trump coin is coming. Perfect timing for the Trump coin because Bitcoin and Ethereum just had a massive bounce, as we all know, and the Trump coin is slated to come out on September the 1st. A lot of people, I know a number of folks in my Discord and who have been following me, got into the Trump coin, right? I thought it was a little bit risky at the time, but I said, hey, look, if he does get elected president, this could be an easily 10, 20x. And right now it's looking like it's more than that, right? Today I'm going to spend the episode talking about, first of all, where Bitcoin and Ethereum is going in the short term, and also what's going to happen with the Trump coin, right? The not the meme coin, but WLFI, World Liberty Finance, the Trump DeFi coin that's coming out, trading in spot on September the 1st. But right now, its futures is already open, and we have an inkling of what price range it's going to be in, what's the valuation already. So I'm going to talk about the coin that could most likely benefit from this Trump coin, what its competitor coins are doing. Yes, there are competitor coins, and even tiny coins that could benefit from the Trump coin. So first, let's have a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Bitcoin has had the reaction we wanted yesterday, which is closed above this key area of 116.1, right? But now we're floating down below again. We don't want to see any of this, especially not back in this channel. We want a bottoming tail for it to wick up and close once again above 116.1 or 116.2, right? This sort of stuff, another day or two closing below is just not good. Look, this is Saturday 2:50, right? New York time right now. So if we get the weekly close, right, in about 12 or so hours, we really want the bar to be here, right? It's more like, it's more like in 24 hours or so. We really want the weekly bar close to be like at least 116.4 with a long wick to the bottom, and not anything like this, not 115, because it's below our key levels of support here. And that's not a proper bottoming tail either. If we closed here, then we might argue 16.5. We might argue that's a bottoming tail. For ETH, the weekly, right, looks pretty good either way. Hey, look, this is what I've been talking about. I said on Monday, I said with the ETH weekly close here, it's not terribly bearish. We can't call that a topping tail because, you know, it closed midway in the range, and usually that's a continuation pattern because then price can actually keep on going up. And indeed, ETH try to scare everyone, fake everyone out with a wick down, and is actually looking like it's going to close up, something like this. If it was to close around here, below 4,550, that would be a doji, right? Give us a doji, and that's not great news. Doji can mean a reversal pattern. So we wanted to close up here. So this is, if folks remember in my Discord or who have been watching my videos, who remember what I said about this weekly candle, right? Then they remember that I said sometimes we have this, and the next week, right, or the next day, depending if you're looking at a weekly or a daily chart pattern, the price can actually keep going up, right? I even found examples for folks. I said, look, there are times where we saw examples of this, such as there was one of these charts that showed this happening on Ethereum, and where basically price kind of closed halfway up the range, and it kept on going, and it was a continuation pattern. Probably something like this, right? Where it's not a topping tail. For it to be a topping tail, you'd have to close here. This closed somewhat halfway up the range, and price kept on pumping and had another run. That's on the weekly chart, of course. And look, it's so ETH is obviously looking more bullish than Bitcoin, and that's why I do think this altcoin season is continuing. I'm not even saying it's beginning. I've been calling for 2 months now, 3 months now, saying altcoin season's already started. but it's going to continue now. And all about the Trump coin and the Trump World Liberty DeFi coin. Before we answer those questions, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo He-Man use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. That means you don't, even the exchange can't see who you are, right? That means the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, the FBI, CIA, nobody can see you. That's why I like this exchange, right? I made this deal with them. Win weekly prizes of up to $25,000 futures bonus just by trading weekly, not monthly. And this is not like an exchange-wide competition where there are hundreds of thousands of people, million people. This is just a competition if you're a follower of Pablo, right? So if you signed up through Pablo. So this is up to $2,000, $4,000, $15,000, $25,000 just by every week, right? All these prizes. Just by trading volume, you can get these prizes even if you're in the top 60. Just by overall profit and loss P&L, if you're in the top 10, you get all these prizes. Okay, folks. And remember, this is for a limited time only. The offer ends on September 12th. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. For YouTubers, the link is in the description below. But if you're watching on any other platform, that's okay. Just click on my profile. That's my bio page. And click on my Stan link or link tree, right? It's my link tree, and it should be the first deal that pops up because this is a great deal. Okay, let's get back to it, folks. But remember, this deal is only on the Pablo He-Man link. Only on the Pablo link. So here, what happens is with the Trump coin that's coming out, already the markets are doing what they do best, which is trading it on futures. The spot is not unlocked yet, and we saw it hit as high as, well, couple of hours ago when I saw it, hit as high as 0.005, right? Or essentially giving it a FDV, fully diluted value of 55 billion. To put that in perspective, the Trump meme coin hit 73 billion. And this is a serious Trump coin, right? The World Liberty DeFi. You would think it has a chance of taking out where the meme coin was at 73 billion. So there's a chance. So which means has more room to go than where it is today. But that's the pro. Some people argue for it can go up even more. Like I said, some people have been saying that, look, what about XRP? XRP fully diluted value, not market cap, but fully diluted value is at like 300 something billion right now. And if the Trump coin's only at 55 billion, then it's got at least 6x to go. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that. I do think it is a big deal, but here's the cons about this coin. Just like XRP, XRP market cap is 200 something billion, but FDV is 300 something billion. What that means is basically they've only unlocked about 2/3 of their coins. The Trump coins are only going to unlock 20% to begin with, and yet you can price it at 50 billion, 100 billion, but eventually they're just going to release 3%, 5%, 10% of the coins every few weeks or a few months until all of the coins are unlocked. And when all of the coins are unlocked, that's 4x more, 4 times more coins coming to dump on your head. That's what they've done with the Trump meme coin. That's especially what they have done with the Melania. Remember his wife's meme coin, Melania. So that's how the Trumps operate, right? I don't care if you're a MAGA or a fan of Trump. I don't hate on the guy. That's just how his family operates. They basically unlocks, right, very quickly, and dumps on his core followers, right? And you might say, oh yeah, you crypto influencers do that as well. Yeah, but I'm not U.S. president, bro. People are not going to judge influencers, right, up to the same standard as the guy who's got, his finger on the nuclear button and who's commander-in-chief of these United States, right? Are you kidding me? You compare him to Capo, the crypto influencers like Capo or Carl the Moon? Are you anyways, a lot of people don't have high IQs, but So what's one coin that can benefit a lot from this? For folks who have been watching my videos, I've spoken about this block coin already, and the reason why I'm highlighting it again is that it's actually gone down from its peak. Like the peak, what was it here? Like this was the high here was 27. Right now it's only at 16 cents, and that's after it went down to a low of 12 cents. So it went down more than 50%, and today's had a big spike up. So today we can see this candle had a big spike up because there's so much talk, so much hype about World Liberty Fi coin, the Trump coin coming out now. Block, for folks who don't know, I've explained this before. BLOK, as in like blockchain. The reason why it is hot is because that's actually the Trump launch layer, the Trump family's launch layer for their USD1 stablecoin. So World Liberty Fi, the coin that's coming out, only has one product so far. That's why a lot of people criticize and say it's an empty shell. It only has one product, and that is the USD1 coin, stablecoin, right? And USD1 stablecoin can't operate on World Liberty Fi coin. It can't launch, can't stake, can't earn yields, can't do any of that. So they belatedly, because these are not geniuses we're dealing with, belatedly they realize, oh no, we need a liquidity layer, we need a DeFi layer, we need a platform where people can stake, earn yields, and lend or borrow against it, whatever. And that is what this coin is, Block, right? That's publicly been verified. They talk about it. The Trumps talk about it all the time. So Block, the thing about Block is that its market cap is only 76 mil, but its FDV is 165 mil. No matter which way you look at it, it's quite small compared to the World Liberty Fi coin itself, which is at what, like 55 billion, as I mentioned today, and could go up a lot more once it comes out. So, and in fact, I'll repeat once more, the guy who runs Alt Sigma 5, that's a company owned by Trump associates that acts as a treasury to buy the World Liberty Fi coin as a treasury, kind of like how MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin. This company called Alts, listed on the NASDAQ, buys World Liberty Fi, right? Same kind of analogy. That coin, the CEO of that Alts company is also the chief investment officer of this Block, right? Block crypto. So it's basically operated by Trump insiders. Okay, so I've spoken about that before, and I just think that with Trump coin at 55 billion, it can go to 73 billion, can go above 100 billion, then you would think short term, long term, there's going to be a lot of dumping by insiders. Then you would think FDV 165 or 76 million for Block, which is the actual DeFi layer, right? Which is the actual DeFi liquidity layer, launch layer for USD1, should be worth a lot more. Okay. Let's move on to a World Liberty Fi competitor. What's a World Liberty Fi competitor, you might ask? Well, since their only product is basically for the Trumps to pump USD1, right? USD1, the stable coin, then that's compared to the largest stable coin, which operates as an altcoin. What I mean by that is like USDT and USDC are stable coins, but yeah, good luck trying to make a profit off USDC and USDT, because what happens is it's pegged at 1-to-1 to US dollar. The only thing that comes close is ENA or Ethena. And what Ethena, I've also done a video on it before, and folks who've been watching me or in my Discord should already be familiar with it. ENA basically launches their own stable coin, right? Which is called USDE, E for Ethena, and it has very high yield. And the thing about them is that their yield actually goes up when the Fed is cutting interest rates. We all know that recently the Fed has said that they're likely to cut interest rates. I mean, that's why we've had this big bounce in Bitcoin and Ethereum and the stocks, because at Jackson Hole on Friday, Jerome Powell just said, some very dovish things, meaning they're likely to cut interest rates. And we can see this is September, August to January, right, or mainly the second half of last year, when the Fed cut interest rates from about 5.4% down once, right, by 50 points, 25, then 25, down to where it is right now, about 4.25, 4.3% right now. And as the Fed rates went down, the rate that Ethena or ENA was earning actually went up. Why is this? Well, that's because I've explained it before. ENA is actually a synthetic stablecoin. That means they're not backed one-to-one by US Treasuries bonds. They're kind of backed by Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you say, well, what if Bitcoin and Ethereum goes down? Well, if Bitcoin and Ethereum goes down, then they hedged against that by shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum. So then they're hedged. But here's the thing. When you short, you basically, usually, because the market is long, more longs than shorts, so then longs pay. Right, they pay what's called a funding rate. That's the thing I check all the time with you guys, the futures funding rate, and I explained this before. So the annualized futures funding rate shot up from somewhere like on average 5-6% all the way up to like 25-30% around December last year. Why is that? That's because when Fed is cutting rates like 2-3 cuts in a row, market gets very bullish. Right, and this could happen again in the next 2 months when Fed starts cutting. Then Ethena coins yield could be something like 20 to 30% again. Right, that's just the way the coin is designed. Once again, I'm not sponsored by this coin. Legally, I claim I'm not. Legally, I state I'm not sponsored by this coin. Not sponsored. I'm just telling you guys that's what's going to happen. That's what's likely to happen, and therefore, if say Jerome Powell and his pals cut rates to like 4.00% or 3.75%, the Fed funds rate, by people then think, the whales then think, if they put their money in the bank, they're earning 3%, 4% at best. But this Ethena can get them 20%, 25% yields, right? Then they might trust. Not trust, but they might like Ethena more, right? So it makes them seem more competitive, much higher yields. Once again, I do think it's risky. I don't think those yields are guaranteed. It is risky, but that's a bullish thesis. If you want to hear the hopium and to provide you the cons with the bulls, the pros and cons, I would say that. The one con that I named about Ethena was that it was already like $8 billion, so it's quite large. For it to 10x is not, even 5x is very difficult. Also, I don't think those yields are guaranteed, even though that's what ENA says. I don't think it's guaranteed. Now, also quickly, what's another coin, tiny coin, that can benefit from this situation with Trump and USD1? Well, this is the coin that I was speaking about before a few days ago. It went for a 60x run after I spoke about it, posted my video. 60x run. It's called Wire. They're basically a partner of USDC, which is second largest stablecoin in the world, Circle. But I do caution you, there are lots of partners to Circle. They're not like, one of the top 5 or top 10 or anything. There are lots of partners. It's a big network. But that means at least they're legit, because that means Circle has vetted them, has doxed them, has checked up on them financially, and they've got a license to operate and all that in US. So what they have done is that this 717 Capital or Wire, their founder is a guy called Ryan. His last name is available. He might want to keep it private, but if you search on LinkedIn, his for 717 Capital, and this guy, his name pops up. And in fact, he created something called Signet. Signet for one of the banks. The bank went bankrupt. That's not his fault. And then the Federal Reserve kind of bailed it out. And the Federal Reserve said, oh, here's this very useful payments rail called Signet. So they turned it into something called FedNow, instant payments, which is, of course, the thing they were going to use for CBDCs. Like literally billions of dollars gets paid on FedNow all the time right now. And that's the guy, Ryan, last name's on LinkedIn. I won't say what it is, but it's on LinkedIn. It's open publicly. Is basically the guy who created that, right? There's videos of him making that claim as well. And so, I mean, that's just a lot of big things could come for 717 Capital and Wire. This is certainly looking like a very professional operation with lots of banking and high finance experience, and that's what USD1 and the Trump World Liberty Fi is doing right now, because they are legitimizing the whole crypto world, stablecoin, on-off ramps payments right now. So that's a tiny coin that could benefit as well. All right, thank you for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you next time.